What's up, YouTube? My name is Zanrith. This is my XS650. Today we're going to work on it. If you guys saw the last video that I posted, it was me attempting to do a first ride on this rebuilt bike, and she didn't want to run. Basically what happened is, from what I'm thinking, is either the charging system shot or the battery was just so dead that it couldn't charge up fast enough to keep it running. Yeah, so I was going to just pop a battery in it, which I charged up, it's all charged, and then get to work. But then I found out that we've got a fuel leak coming somewhere. It looks like out of the petcock itself. So I think first thing we should do is probably clean up this fuel, fix the fuel leak, and then we can test fire. So I'm just going to use a bunch of dirty shop rags just to tuck them in here and soak up the extra fuel that's kind of dripped down over the couple days that it's been sitting out here. I have the petcock on fuel, which this is a vacuum petcock. So what that means is, with the engine running, this tube here is a vacuum line. It goes into the back of the petcock and it moves a little diaphragm inside there that allows fuel to flow down into the carburetors. So in reality, there should be no fuel running out of the petcock right now, which it looks wet up like back here, like where the, I don't know, you probably can't tell, but back here where the seals are. I did rebuild the petcock once because it was not functioning that way. Everything was basically just wide open on. Well, not on, but wide open, like everything was on primary, where fuel would just flow no matter what position it was in. So I fixed that, but apparently either I didn't tighten something down enough or I misaligned something. That's all I can really think. We gotta take it apart. I gotta take it apart and fix it. So there's some fuel in this. You can hear it slosh around in there. So we got a fuel tank, fuel can. I'm gonna empty all the fuel out, pull the seat off. Wow, I cannot speak today, YouTube. This is what happens when you drink whiskey all night. I'm going to pull the tank off. We're going to get that off. We're going to pull this petcock, try to drain as much fuel out of this tank as possible into my gas can, just so that there's less in the tank we have to deal with, and then we'll refill it. To do that, to do the fuel drain, like I said, you just set this to primary, or prime, PRI. I don't know if anyone can read that on this video. This is PRI right there, so you turn this over here to pry, and it will just allow fuel to flow directly to the carbs. No restriction, no use of the vacuum system that's built into the bike. So that's the first step, is I'm going to do that, and then we'll get working on getting the battery back in and checking the charging system, or seeing if it runs. It might just run because the battery's fully charged, because there's been a lot of work done on this. The battery might still. So let's get this thing up. It's on the lift, it's tied down, but let's get it jacked up so it's in our face, and then we will get working on it. Okay, now that she's all the way up there, I've got, I don't even know if this is the right screw for it, or bolt for it, but got a Phillips bolt here that holds a tank on. It's that and lifts off, but we got to get this little washer out over here. Let's take that cover off to access that, not washer, but hose clamp. Okay, just as I thought, YouTube, the petcock is to on, and there's no fuel coming out of it down here. I don't know if I can activate the pump just by squeezing this, or the vacuum. No, but if you set it to prime, and this is going to put fuel all down it, it should. Yep, there it goes. Ah, too much. That'll spit fuel out like it's its job. So this petcock's working properly, but back in here, I don't know if there's a seal, something not tight enough, something's not quite right back here, and I'm getting fuel coming out of it. So we're going to take tank off. I've already loosened the bolt. We'll take the tank off, pull the vacuum line. Maybe this vacuum line needs to be rerun in a little bit different direction too. Looks like it might be pinching somewhere. I don't think that'd be causing a problem, but we'll rerun the vacuum line a little bit too when we take that off, just to do a little less damage. Just looking at where everything should run on this bike. It was built apart for so long I couldn't really remember, so we'll see. Like, I'm wondering if this line should be between the carburetor over there. But we'll play with things as we go, figure it out. So let's make sure I don't lose these. Make sure I don't lose my parts. I got gas dripping everywhere. Yuck. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna get the tank off. We'll drop the fuel into a gas can, which is here somewhere. This is my dirty garage, don't pay attention to it. Gas can. Dirty ass gas can. Love it. Did this backwards again. There we go. Actually, this might come in handy if I can put the petcock in that and just let the fuel drain out of it. There's a bit of fuel in here because I was planning on going for a longer ride, but we'll see. See how much I can get out. Not another dirty rag. Try to reuse my rags if I'm just picking up oils and stuff like this. There she goes. That's just fit onto a little nipple-y kind of thing back there. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute for the vacuum line. But I'm thinking if this runs back here in between these, I'll have more of a straight shot. It was getting a little pinched in there, so I don't think we're going to need the spout on, actually, if I look at this again. So this is going to be kind of complicated. I have to hold 4 things at once. We'll see if I can do it without dropping it, spilling fuel everywhere. So my thought was if I just do this, kind of tip the spout in there and do that. There you go. I'm just going to leak the fuel out into the, not leak it, but just empty as much fuel out of here as possible right now, using what's already here, which is the petcock, right back into the gas tank that I filled the bike with originally. But it feels like there's a lot of gas in here, so I'll just skip forward until we to when it's empty. Okay, I got a lot of the fuel out of the tank here, so I rolled it onto its side so I could access the petcock without taking the whole system apart. And I've got a bunch of the J bits here. These are your Japanese standard bits. I don't know why these exist or when or why they are a little different than everything, but I know that with this bike and older bikes, I think there wasn't a full standard in Phillips bits, so Japanese had a Phillips bit that was just a little different than the American standard, so they make these special bits for it. And because I was working on this bike enough, I decided it was time to invest in these bits. And before I could even go out and buy them or find them, a person that I found on the internet who was who sold me some parts. I was trying to remember how I got these. Sold me some parts. Actually, just gave me a whole set of these, which was awesome. So these are not that loose, but I'm just gonna give them a little snugging. I don't want to go too tight because they are just aluminum. I'm just gonna go around and just make sure they're completely snugged up. You know, maybe that little bit. But it feels like around the petcock, the seal there is a little damp. I don't know where else it could be coming from, where this fuel could be coming from. And it's obviously coming from the tank, but everything looks aligned. There is a seal, I believe, in this nozzle here that wiggles a bit. Maybe that needs to be replaced. But we're gonna try to get this
not leaking just by tightening things up here. I'm just looking at everything. What else am I trying to say? Maybe we'll tighten everything up. Just tighten everything while we're here, right? Right. Just tighten everything. Try not to lose the bits. And we'll see if it'll hold some fuel. Other than that, I think what I'm going to do is actually put the tank on the ground, because there is still fuel in the carbs. And I'm actually trying to run the bike, get it started without the tank on it for now, just to see if it'll run. See, these weren't that loose either. I don't know what could have been leaking then. So I think, like I said, I'm going to put the tank on the ground, I think, and try to run the bike without the tank on it, because there is fuel in it, and just see if I can get it started, just because then with the tank out of the way, you can see more of what's going on in the bike. Maybe it'll help point me in the right direction. If it doesn't fire with the fresh battery, we'll have to start going through the electrical system. We can do a compression test. We can, what else? Compression, electrical. We know it's getting fuel because there's fuel everywhere, but we can check to make sure it's actually getting fuel into the engine instead of just into the carbs. So let's do that. Let's so you go back up into my apartment and grab my battery. Put the fuel somewhere not next to the engine. Put the tank somewhere else. Then we can test fire this, see if it runs. If not, we'll just go to the next step, which is throw it off a cliff. No. No. As much as I have fought with this bike, it will not be sold. I love this stupid thing. Learned a lot. So okay, so let's do that. Let's grab the battery, put it in, start checking all the systems, make sure everything's running, make sure lights are all working, everything's working. Then try to test fire it. Then we'll make sure that there's fuel in here. I cleaned up all the fuel I could get out of here. Like maybe there might be a couple drips still here and there, but a lot of the fuel's out of here, so we shouldn't explode. Maybe we will, but we shouldn't explode. That's a key part of the shouldn't. Not to say we won't. Probably shouldn't explode. It's probably bad for us. Wow, I did empty a lot of fuel out of that. So let me go run, grab the battery. We'll get her in and we'll test fire. What else can we do? Right? Okay, you two, we are back. Got the battery in, tightened down. There we go. Get that on there just for security. I checked all the fuses, all look good. Choke's on, bike's good. On this, let's see if it'll start. Okay, good tests. Yeah, not a lot of fuel in it. Didn't want to run it too hard. And I know they say don't run it on this lift, but whatever, it's my bike. So she seems to be working. I guess the battery was so dead that it didn't want to run. So that means, as I punch the camera, I should start checking the charging system on this. And right, that's really what I do. Check the electrical system in this, really give it a once over. I know that when I think the... I'm not going to speculate this. No, I'm going to say it. Screw it. You guys are going to hear it. I think when this bike was running back in 2009, I want to say is the year, that we were having battery issues. So there may be a problem with the charging system. It's just been so long I can't really remember. But the good news is she runs. She starts. So that's always a good start. Cool. Okay, so we've
what have we done today? We've made sure it runs. We've checked the petcock. I'm going to leave it over on the floor. I'm not going to put it back on the bike for now. I'm going to leave it on the floor on that little, I don't even know what material that would be, styrofoamy, plasticky mat. We'll see if there's any leaks on it. And we'll come back to that another day. We'll let that sit for a little bit, see if we get a leak. Just because it was leaking just sitting here, so it should be the same thing. That sounds like fun. And then we can come back, because I got to go find my... electrical stuff. My voltmeter. I think I lent it to my neighbor, so I'll have to go get that from him, because he's working on his bike too. But I think that's a good place to end the video for today. Not bad for an 82. I mean, it fires up pretty easily. Just needs some TLC. I mean, that's all it really is. I don't know why. I feel like it should have idled a little higher with the choke on all the way than it did. Like, it didn't idle that high. But it's cold, too. It hasn't been run, like, besides last week when I tried to ride it. Or 2 weeks ago. Whichever. So it needs some TLC. That's all I'm going to say right now. And we'll go through the charging system. I have under some spare parts here as I put the key in my mouth and try to talk to you. Smooth move there, Zan. I do have the worst repair manual I've ever seen in my life. No, just kidding. It's actually been really helpful to me. A lot of guys online are not really impressed with it, as it has some not so great information in it, but other people have told me it should be good enough to get me started, and that the forums that are out there should be the rest of the information I need. So this is the later section. Like, I've got things bookmarked. There's grease all over this book now. I've been through it so many times. I used to read it at night. But we'll go through the charging system, check it out. I'll get back to you guys. We'll talk it over. We'll figure out what it needs, get it worked on. Charging system, look at that. So I'll go through this. I will see approximately. So it says everything the charging system should be, and if it's not this, then do X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Another day. So start on this. So guys, like, what else do we talk about today? Nada. We're good. It's good enough for one day, right? So I'm Zanrith. This is my 1982 Yamaha XS650SJ. That I've painted, rebuilt, rewired. It's almost there. Little bits to go. I mean, there's a lot that I want to do to it, but little things to get it roadworthy. It's road ready, but not roadworthy. Needs a little bit of life left in it. So if you guys like it, like the video. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you guys are interested in this bike at all, ask questions, comments, concerns. And until the next one, everyone out there ride safe. We'll see everybody shortly.